Alan Wake 2 is one of the greatest horror games ever released. Minus a few bugs, it is a game that deserves every bit of praise it gets, so with this in mind, I wanted to test the game's flexibility and see if it was possible to beat Alan Wake 2 with only the starting weapons. The rules are simple. I must attack enemies with only Saga's pistol or Alan's revolver. If I don't, and attack them with something else, I must restart a checkpoint. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. But first, why don't you subscribe for small channel bragging rights? The game begins with a naked man emerging from Cauldron Lake. On stream, we all decided to unanimously change his name from Nightingale to Cockman. After Cockman makes some friends, we are welcomed with the hardest title card sequence I have ever seen. Before being introduced to Saga Anderson, one of the two protagonists of this game, who is investigating the murder of Cockman himself. After looking around and trying to deduce what happened, we learn that Cockman has something inside his chest, so it's off to the morgue to grab something out of his insides. From here, the sheriff disappears and Cockman wakes up, convincing Chat he is role-playing as someone's dad. It is from here that the challenge can officially start. I go to grab the pistol and shoot Cockman right in the bollocks. After asserting my authority on him, he runs off to another dimension where we eventually chase him down and enter the dimension where he ran off to before engaging in some more cock shooting. Before long, Cockman is put to rest. After we put him down, we finally get to meet the main man himself, Morbius.
It's Morbid time.
We are then introduced to Alan Wake's gameplay, which pretty much has little to no combat, so I'm just going to skip over this whole part, because while it is fun, it doesn't really relate to the challenge in the slightest. From here on out, we can switch between either Saga's and Alan's story as we please, but it's worth noting that Alan's story focuses more on psychological aspects of horror in the dark place, and Saga's almost is more akin to a slasher, since her story seems to be where most of the action takes place. In fact, since this is a combat challenge, the hardest part of this whole challenge is in Alan's story, since I always struggle to remember where I'm going when I'm streaming, since I can't multitask for the life of me. On the plus side though, Alan's story lets me replay this masterpiece of a sequence. Oh look, it's Sam Lake. Look at him go, chat. Look at him go! Look at him go! Eventually, after some wild discussions with the chat, I realised I had to complete the rest of the challenge without streaming, or else I would have to eat a shoe, since for some reason I promised chat that if I didn't finish this game in under 10 hours, I would have to eat a leather boot. Alan's whole story really didn't have much combat at all, other than that one musical chapter, and quite literally nothing noticeable happened other than Alan deciding to become Michael Jackson for a brief period. After completing all of Alan's chapters and shooting some shadow demons in the cock, I would finally move on to Saga's story, where most of the combat takes place. Once I become Saga again, I head off to a nearby town, where we learn that the horror story that Alan wrote is coming true. Parts of this story include Saga having a life in this nearby village, and having a nearby trailer that we have to go investigate. But first, we have to gather the keys, which are in a safe in a coffee-themed amusement park, which equates to me going to shoot some more Taken in the cock. You know, thinking about it now in retrospect, it isn't really that hard of a challenge until much later. In fact, once again, the hardest part of this whole challenge is just me remembering what to do, and trying to beat the game in 10 hours. I really do not want to eat this leather boot. After grabbing the key, we follow one of the deputies into a biker shack and then get attacked, just to shoot the guy in the cock. It's also worth noting I am currently playing on the easiest difficulty, just as you would expect me to. After leaving the biker shack, we learn that we have to open a gateway between the dimensions, so we go around Coffee World and gather every single thing we need to. The reason for this is because we need a device called the Clicker, which is basically just a magical device that will make all your dreams come true. On entering, we are greeted with a boss fight, and it was kind of anticlimactic since I just kept shooting them until they stopped reviving. This pistol is actually more powerful than I thought, to be honest. On our way back, we switch back to Alan for this next chapter as we get attacked by some cultists. We run away, and the game gives us a weapon to fight back with. And it's a shotgun, so it's absolutely useless. Now, seeing that we can't use this weapon, I employ a brand new tactic called running the fuck away. After trying out my new tactic, the chapter ends with Alan being taken away by the Federal Bureau of Control from the hit game Bubsy 3D. Seeing that this challenge is actually pretty boring, I've decided to fill this segment with another one of my gaming hot takes. Did you know that I think Dark Souls 2 is the best Soulsborne game? Now we are back to playing as Saga, who is off to see her granddad Tor. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Saga is related to the old musicians from the first game. In finding Tor in the nursing home, we get jump scared by someone's nan.
It's me! Oh, come on.
Before seeing Tor drown himself instead of being a part of another Whoie video. Understandable, I wouldn't want to be in these videos either if I had a choice. We then break the game by doing the next segment out of order. I was just trying to find a record to open the overlap, and then I managed to softlock myself because I can't progress for some reason. So I had to reload a save in order to progress. I swear on my first playthrough I didn't encounter a single bug, but now, between this and Alan moonwalking, I've seen it all. After restarting the game, we are finally able to follow Tor and start a boss fight with Grandma, which was actually pretty tough, since for once I actually ran out of ammo. I was worried that I'd have to reload again, but then I found some more ammo, so I guess it just didn't matter. Once Grandma has been put down, we go back to the police station, shoot some more Taken in the Willy, and talk to Alan, who reveals himself to be the evil doppelganger called Scrotch, who is just Alan Wake with the dark presence 10 inches inside of him. Now it's time for a short little boss fight where I shoot Alan 3 times and turn on a few lights. Once Wake pussies out, we can finally start the game's finale. The finale begins with Tor and Odin singing a song at Cauldron Lake to bring back the regular Alan Wake. This section is pretty easy since Sam Lake keeps throwing ammo at me the whole time, and after he gets sick of throwing ammo, he decides to throw me into a lake. I love this game's narrative so much, but it's too confusing to even explain what's going on here, man. On the plus side, after 13 years, Alan is now free of the dark presence, just in time to watch these 2 old pensioners try and drown themselves. Brilliant. Alan then heads up to the writer's room one more time, and Saga finally manages to escape the dark place. She only did it in 1 hour when it took Alan 13 years. She then meets Alan in the writer's room and shoots him in the head with a bullet of light, potentially killing him and the dark presence in one felled swoop. The game finally ends here. Now, this challenge was so very easy, I don't even know why I did it in the end. It's a stretch to even call it a challenge. The main reason I wanted to do this was because of how good Alan Wake 2 is and how much I love this game and its world. It's just so good, and I just wanted to say, if you haven't played it, go play it. It's worth every penny. But I suppose I just spoiled most of the story for you here, so the main draw has kind of been defeated, hasn't it? Also, if you recall that thing about me saying I'll eat a shoe if I don't beat the game in 10 hours, well, I just wanted to say I beat the game in under 9, so shush, chat. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next challenge video, where it should actually be a bit more challenging than this. If you enjoy my content, why not join my little community Discord in the description? I'm sure you'll get along with everybody there just fine. Did you know that 99%